Dear Bobby Slowik, hear me out. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what I say. Hard work, work, work. Earn more pay. Hard work, work. Hard work, do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of quarter to three. Hard work, work. Let me go and earn more pay. Hard work, work. Boots on and lace.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter and Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media. What's going on, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, listen, I know that I told you all that it was going to be 3 subjects this morning, but the other 2 I'm going to save for this afternoon. So there will be 2 shows today. Make sure you tell everybody, share it, share it, share it. Tell a friend. Hey, Sarge is going to do a happy hour. That's right. I'm going to do a happy hour today because I won't be able to get to the Texans grades for the first quarter of the season this morning, and I won't be able to get to the Bills matchup this morning because I have to get ready. What time is it? I got to get ready to go down to the Houston Rockets Media Day. And so I will also be giving you some Rockets content this afternoon when we come. Well, this evening, excuse me, when we do happy hour. So I have the Houston Rockets Media Day to go to today. And then right after that, I have to mosey on over. People still say mosey? I got to mosey on over to NRG Stadium because head coach D'Amico Ryans will be speaking today as well. And so I apologize. I won't be able to give you the other 2 subjects this morning, but trust me and believe me, and I know that a lot of you all who follow me will and do. I will be back this afternoon, this evening, to give you all a Sports Talk with Big Sarge happy hour. And y'all gotta let me know what y'all drinking too, all right? Because I'm gonna have my cup. You just make sure and be ready to have your cup. All right, real quickly, I told you all on Friday that I was going to get an opportunity to spend a chance with my grandbabies, and I did. I got an opportunity to spend a chance with my grandbabies, and it was the best. Side note, hey, if you're an older person and you thinking about having kids, don't. Just don't. Just don't. Play with your friends' kids, play with your nieces and nephews, just play with other people's kids when they come over to your house, or when you're out and about with your friends, you can interact with those kids. But whew, let me tell y'all something right now. My 6-year-old granddaughter, oh my God, that is a handful. I didn't, that's a lot of energy. That is a lot of energy. She is, whoo, and she just goes and goes and goes and goes. So I hadn't been around little kids like that in a very long time. So I'm like, woo, this is a lot. This is a whole lot. And so I had to get myself together. I got myself together, my wife and I. Thank God for my wife. Shout out Chrissy. Chrissy, I appreciate you being there for me, because if not, Lord, that thing could have went a totally different way. I'm telling you that right now. That thing could have went a totally different way if Chrissy wouldn't have been there. So, yes, look, those grandkids are a different breed now. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Them grandkids, hold on, let me say good morning. Good morning. So, yeah, so it took me a little time to recover from that. And thank God I got a wife who said, "Look, I'm gonna drive back because I know you got to be up early in the morning for the Texans." And so she drove back from where we were hanging out with them, and whoa, it was a lot. And all we did was go eat, get Starbucks, and then go to the outlet. I thought, I was like, "Hey, we go to the outlet. I could tire him out a little bit." I think that just put more energy in her battery. She still wants to go, hey, Papa, can we go to the park? To the park? Papa got to drive back 3 hours first. Second of all, I got to get y'all home because your mom is like, hey, you got to get them home to eat so they can get ready for church in the morning. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see them again before they leave out here on Wednesday. All right. Let me go ahead and jump into this thing right quick because I don't have a lot of time. Good thing I stayed not too far from the Toyota Center, so I can give you all, a little bit more of my time before I have to get out of here and take off. But there's something that we definitely have to talk about. So on Sunday, the Houston Texans defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 24-20 to improve to 3-1 on the season and 2-0 in the AFC South. And so, side note, hold on. Hey, what happened to Trevor Lawrence? I thought Trevor Lawrence was like the second coming of like Peyton Manning. I thought Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be like the second coming of Tom Brady, at least Aaron Rodgers. What happened? First of all, when the last time they won a game? Was it November 23rd, if I'm not mistaken? They ain't won a game in a very long time. The last opponent that they beat was the Houston Texans. And so what's going on? What's happening? Because I used to think that Trevor Lawrence was going to be in the upper echelon of quarterbacks in the NFL. I thought that he would by now at least be in the conversation for top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't even know if he top 17. Like where would you rank? Put it in the comments. Where would you rank Trevor Lawrence? Where are you going to put Trevor Lawrence at right now? Because from what I'm seeing, he is I don't understand. It's like it still hasn't clicked. It hasn't clicked. Like he hasn't taken that next step, and they just gave him a whole bunch of money, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think that they just gave him a huge contract. It's just not clicking. And so I'm watching him yesterday, and I'm saying to myself, how are you missing these throws? How are you missing these throws? Like, well, what is going on? He's one of those quarterbacks that looks the part. Like you look at him, you're like, wow, he looks the part. But if we have to, what is he in year 4? If I'm not mistaken, I think he's in year. Let me see something right quick. Do they have it on here? Trevor Lawrence. Let me see. What is his number? 16. Yeah, year 4. So if in year 4, I still have to keep going back to the time he was playing at Clemson. Well, hell, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do that for Deshaun Watson too. If I'm going to just go back to the time that they were in college, I'm going to go back to Deshaun Watson. I'm going to go back to Justin Herbert. Like, hey, when they were in college, they were amazing. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm confused about what we're doing here when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. They're probably going to end up firing Doug Peterson. Now that they are 0-4, they're probably going to end up, the Jacksonville Jaguars are probably going to end up firing their coach. And when they do, I'm going to say to myself, but it wasn't him. He isn't the reason that they're 0-4. They just got, they can't get over the hump. And it starts with Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, I wouldn't play with Trevor Lawrence in Madden. It's sad. I think that I would play with Sam Darnold right now than play with, if I was playing Madden, I'd play with Sam Darnold before I play with Trevor Lawrence. And I never, ever, ever, ever thought that would come out of my mouth to say that. Hey, man, I think I'm gonna play with Sam Darnold today. Well, you got Trevor Lawrence over there now. I'm good. I'm good on that. I digress. Well, let's get down to it. So I started the show off by saying, asking. I'm sorry, singing one of the Texas national anthems. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Yes. Texas offense coordinator Bobby Slowik. Let me tell you something. This is when I don't know if you know this or not, Bobby, but Texas is like a football, like a football hotbed. And I'm talking about people in Texas, and I know people in California, people in Florida, they love football too. But in Texas, I'm talking about they love football so much. You line to go to a flag game and get into a fight. You got to go to a Pop Warner game and get into a fight because these parents take it seriously. Middle school, high school, definitely. College, pros, people who live in the state of Texas, the majority of the people that live in the state of Texas, they love football. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Houston has been a baseball town for a very long time with the success of the Houston Astros. Shout out to them. Getting ready to start a wild card playoff series against the Detroit Tigers and their former manager, A.J. Hinch. Houston has been a baseball town since 2017. Yeah. Back in the day, Houston was a basketball city when Hakeem and they had the back-to-back championships. Hell, Houston at one point could be seen as the WNBA city because they won 4 championships in a row. So, hey, you know, you can look at it, you can say, is Houston a baseball city? Is Houston a basketball city? Is Houston is Houston a WNBA city, an NBA city? What is Houston? I'm going to tell you what it is, Bobby. Houston is a football city. Texas is a football state. Houston, I drop this in the comments. Ask any Texans fan. Well, look, ask any former Oiler fans and Texans fans now since 2002. Ask any of them, would they give up one of the Astros World Series, one of the Rockets titles, or one of the Houston Comets, one of the WNBA titles for a Super Bowl win? Don't worry, I'll wait. Drop it in the comments. Would you give up an Astros World Series, a Houston Rockets NBA Finals win, championship, WNBA Houston Comets championship for a Super Bowl? Just one. Bobby, they only want one. They own one. Yes, I know how great the Houston Astros are, but if you say, hey, Texans fans, we got to give up 2017, but you get a Super Bowl victory in return, they'd be like, don't worry about it, we got 2. And even if they had 1, they'd be like, hey, you can go ahead and give that one up. We want this football. So as I digress, Houston is a football city. So you know what that means? Every play is under scrutiny. Every play, offense, defense, special teams, halftime, they take football very seriously here, Bobby. I got to tell you that. Just in case you were wondering, how come your name keeps getting brought up? Hold on for a second. I got to put this up. I'm not a Rockets fan, so hell y'all would give it up for a Super Bowl. Luka Clark said, without blinking. Corey said, I'll give them all up. 100% easily. So, Bobby, if you want to know why your name keeps getting brought up, because every Sunday that the Houston Texans play, the Texans fans are like this, glued to the television, or they're at the game, they're watching the game. And with social media now, everybody thinks that they can call plays in the NFL, Bobby. Everybody thinks that if they were given the opportunity to call plays for C.J. Stroud, for Nico Collins, for Tank Dell, for Stephon Diggs, for Joe Mixon, for Dalton Schultz, that they could do it. Everybody believes that. I know that because I see it on social media. I'm in these spaces. And in these spaces and on social media, they're telling you exactly what you should have been running, or what you should have been doing. So social media ain't doing nothing but making it worse for you. Hey, it's hard, but it's fair. And if you want it to be fair, then you need to go to Dallas. I think they got the state fair going on right now. You can get you some good turkey legs, some funnel cakes, all that good stuff, some cotton candy. You can play some games. Fair is a place where they judge pigs, where they judge livestock. It ain't going to be fair, Bobby, and it damn sure ain't going to be fair in the city of Houston. These fans take their football very seriously. The media takes football very seriously in the city of Houston. And I get it. This next statement is going to make some people mad, but I am going to say it anyway. Doesn't matter that the Texans haven't been to an AFC championship game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that they haven't been to a Super Bowl. Doesn't matter. They have a professional football team in the city of Houston, and the fans are watching. They love the Houston Texans. Once again, you got a lot of Astros fans here. You got a lot of Rockets fans. They don't compare. They do not compare to Houston Texans fans. Period. So once again, Bobby, if you're wondering why your name keeps getting brought up, it's because these fans are watching. Now, with that being said, there are some fans out there who have played the game or who know the game and saying something ain't right. Something ain't right, Sarge. Sarge, something is not right. Bobby ain't doing something right. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Bobby has only called, 24 games as an offensive coordinator? 24 games. 24 games in the NFL as an offensive coordinator. Never been an offensive coordinator in his life. And now he's calling it for some of the most talented players in the NFL, which brings me to my next point. Maybe it's too much talent for you to handle right now, Bobby. Maybe you should have started out with a team like, let me see. Maybe you should have started out with like the Steelers. Their offense is pretty methodical, and I understand how many yards and points Justin Fields put up yesterday on Sunday. I understand that, but maybe you should have started out with something a little bit more methodical, or maybe you should have realized what you were inheriting when you got this job, and especially when they drafted C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They went out and they got Dalton Schultz, and then this year they added Stephon Diggs and they added Joe Mixon. Like, that's a lot to handle for a coordinator who only has 1 year under his belt. I know these other coordinators make it look easy, but that's because they've been doing it way longer than Bobby has. And hey, look, we could be talking about this in year 5, and we're saying Bobby had a rough start. He had a rough start to being an offensive coordinator. Look at him now, head coach calling offensive plays. So I don't want to lose focus and say that and say that we can't give him a pass because he's only called 24 games. Like, that's a real thing. That's a real thing to have only called 24 games, and then you get an influx of talent, not only in your first year, but going into your second year. That's the equivalent to eating. You start out and you eating, I don't know, you got a pork chop. Then all of a sudden somebody take you to a steakhouse. You be like, oh. And I know y'all gonna say, hey, that's not a comparison, but I don't know how to compare steaks. I don't know what's a good steak and what's a bad steak. I just know that if you eating a pork chop and then somebody give you a steak, that's an upgrade. And Bobby is eating filet mignon. Right? I got that right. Somebody tell me if I got that right. It's filet mignon that Bobby's eating right now, right? With the amount of talent that he has on the offensive side of the ball. And that's hard to do sometimes. Sometimes maybe Bobby's palate isn't ready for filet mignon. Maybe his palate ain't ready for the Kobe beef. Pause. Maybe it's not. Because with the influx of talent that he has, that should be for some of these seasoned offensive coordinators. I'm not saying Bobby can't get there. I'm just saying that he's not there now. He's not there right now. And what the fans are doing, what the fans are watching, what the fans are seeing is, you should be doing more. Like, you should be doing more. And I know, hey, listen, when we do the happy hour this evening, I'll get into the grades and we'll definitely deep dive into the offensive line. I got that. we'll get into the offensive line. I even said on yesterday in the spaces that sometimes Bobby can't call these calls if he's watching CJ being put under the amount of pressure that is being put on. But on the flip side of that, you also can't have these long developing plays. I've only ever called plays on Madden, Bobby. Let me preface my statement by saying that I've only ever called plays on Madden. That's it. So I've never called an NFL game. So you got me on that one. But what I will say is I have been watching football for a very long time. And I've been watching this team for a very long time. And I'm watching it and I'm saying to myself, these plays are taking a very long time to develop. And sometimes it's just, hey, just get the ball out of CJ's hand. Speed the game up. Speed the defense up. Speed the defense up. Hey, go, 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 go. Because if not, CJ is going to get pressured like he's been getting pressured. And you got these long developing plays, trying to go up against cover two high safeties. And you're not going to get the big shots that you're used to getting from last year. Defenses are playing you all a totally different way. They're not going to allow Nico Collins to do what he did going up top. He's not going to allow Tank to be able to blow the top off the defense. It's just not. You're going to have to take what you can get. And so maybe you have to, the game plan that you had coming into the season has to change. I mean, a lot of the players and the coaches, including yourself, Bobby, said this is a week-to-week league, week to week. And so sometimes you got to switch it up week to week and say, hey, okay, what we're doing ain't gonna work. You also got to become a better in-game manager. And like I said, I'm only speaking for what I see and from what I hear. I'm not calling the plays. I don't know what's going on the field as far as what's being said, how all that. So I always preface my statement by saying that I'm gonna tell you this. Former NFL player and host of In the Trenches, Indy Kalu, told me, hey man, sometimes when the media be talking about these things, y'all got to realize you don't know the plays. So that's why I be prefacing by saying that too. But I may not know the play, but I know that play ain't gonna work, and that play ain't gonna work, and that play ain't gonna work because it's taking entirely too long. With that being said, I digress. Bobby, you got to get this thing together. And the problem is, the problem that I've seen within the first 4 games this season is you're having a problem making halftime adjustments. Like halftime is where you're supposed to make the adjustments. And after halftime is where the Texans look the worst. Like they look horrible after halftime. The only time they look good after halftime was against the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. So I got some numbers for y'all. All right. Against the Indianapolis Colts, week 1, first half, they had 207 yards. Second half, they had 210 yards. In the first half, they had 12 points. In the second half, they had 17 points. Against the Chicago Bears, they had 206 yards in the first half. And I'm talking about the offense. In the second half, they had 104 yards. 104 yards in the second half of total offense. 16 points in the first half, 3 points in the second half. Week 3 against the Minnesota Vikings, they had 122 yards in the first half, 174 yards in the second half. Did not score a point till the third quarter. They had 7 total points. That's all they scored for the entire game. 7. And that 174 in the second half came because they had to try to pass the ball to get back into the game, and it still didn't work. On Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, you had 261 yards total offense. I think at the half, CJ had 215 yards, and I know that he ended the game with 335, 345. Hold on, because I don't want to tell y'all wrong. And make sure I got this right. Passing 345. CJ ended the game with 345 yards passing. So you had 261 yards of offense in the first half, 174 in the second half. You had 17 points in the first half, 7 points in the second half. That ain't gonna get it done, Bobby. The last 3 weeks, your second half performances have not been good. And halftime is where you're supposed to make the adjustments. Like, even if a team is stopping you in the first half, which they're not, we see outside of the Vikings game, you all have played very well in the first half. And then in the second half, I don't understand what happens. The offense just takes a dive. This year, this season, first 4 games, you're averaging 199 yards in the first half. In the second half, you're averaging 165 yards. In the first half, you're averaging 11.25 points. And in the second half, you're averaging 8.5 points. There's no possible way when you look at the Houston Texans, and I understand both of your running backs are injured. Your first string running back and Joe Mixon is injured. Your second string running back and Damian Pierce is injured. And so now you're playing with a person who basically walked off the street and made the team, an undrafted. You're playing with one or two undrafted running backs, but you're playing with the backups to the backups. I got that part. I get it. Tank Dell is hurt. I got it. But you still have enough firepower on the offensive side of the ball. You still have enough with C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, who leads the league in receiving yards, Stephon Diggs. You got Dalton Schultz. You can even get Cade Stover involved into the offense. There's no possible way that this team should be averaging 8.5 points in the second half. No way. Entirely too much to be averaging less than 10 points. Less than 10 points in the second half. And if we're keeping it a buck, 11.25 in the first half ain't acceptable either. Not with the amount of firepower you have, not with a top 5, top 7 quarterback. You can't. And hold on. Who do you replace Bobby with? Well, Gerard Johnson is the quarterback's coach. I'm just saying. And I'm not advocating for Bobby to lose his job. So let me preface my statement by saying that I'm not advocating for Bobby to lose his job. I'm saying if he does, I'm pretty sure that, Gerard Johnson, the quarterback's coach for the Houston Texans, can step right in. But I'm not advocating for Bobby to lose his job. As a matter of fact, I'm one of, Bobby's biggest supporters. And I'm saying, hey, he's going to get it together. Just got to give him time. Like I said earlier, 24 games of calling an offense in the NFL with the amount of players that you have, that's hard. Like, you got to get everybody the ball, and you got to make sure that the offense keeps moving. But it seems like in the second half, they're not. In the second half, they're not. 8.5 points per game in the second half through the first 4 games is unacceptable, honestly. Like that's unacceptable. Looking at this, I'm saying to myself, Ka'imi Fairbairn could average this on his own. I'm just saying. Ka'imi Fairbairn could average 8.5 points in the second half by itself. And this is what your offense is averaging. 11.25 in the second, in the first half. The kicker could average that. As good as he is, he can average damn near 12 points by himself in a half. So the numbers that you're putting up is the equivalent to what your kicker can average. And that's unacceptable with the amount of firepower that you have. First quarter of the season, I get it. There's still a lot of football left to play. There's still a lot of football left to play. You got to get healthy. You got to get your players back on the field. Now you see what teams are trying to, what defenses are trying to do to you. What the Bears started to do is the same thing that the Vikings started to do, is the same thing the Jags started to do. And so you can't have these type of performances. I don't understand it. You know, in the first half of the Jacksonville Jaguars game, there was 10 plays over 10 yards passing. 10. In the second half, 5 plays. 5. Now, you would say, hey, man, that Jags defense must have been doing something special. Stroud was pressured 50% in the first half. 50% of his dropbacks, he was pressured. 12% in the second half. You mustered up 7 points in the second half of that Jacksonville Jaguars game, and you only pressured 12% of the time. Something ain't right. Make it make sense. Something just ain't right. I'm running out of time. Jacksonville only blitzed the Texans twice yesterday. 1, 2. Uno, dos. I forgot how to count in German. But they were only blitzed. CJ was only blitzed twice. And you got 7 points? I don't get it. Let me go ahead and jump into another thing right quick. So in week one against the Indianapolis Colts, they punted one time. One time. 3 field goals, 3 touchdowns. Week 2, 6 punts. Week 3, 4 punts. Week 4, yesterday, Sunday, 6 punts. 5 in the second half. The last drive for the Houston Texans where they scored the touchdown, their 6th offensive possession of the second half is the only time they scored. The other 5 possessions, punts. It don't make no damn sense. It does not. It doesn't make any sense. And I will say this. Just like the Houston Texans fans, listen, I get it. I got it. Some of y'all are saying, well, why are the Texans fans mad? We won the game. They're 3-1. Yes, 3-1. Just like linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair said yesterday, I would rather be an ugly 3-1 than a pretty 1-3. Yes. But with this next slate of games that you're about to have, with these next set of opponents in the second and third quarter of the season, the offense can't play like this. On the happy hour edition of Sports Talk with Big Sarge, we're going to talk about how the Buffalo Bills are going to come into NRG pissed because they blew that Jacksonville Jaguars team out a week prior. And then on Sunday night, they got their doors blown off against the Baltimore Ravens. So they're up and down now, and they want to get back to where they were and how they played against Jacksonville. Because how they played against Baltimore, they're going to be like, no, we got to scrap that whole thing. And with that being said, the Houston Texans should be able to walk into that game too and say, we're going to match y'all point for point. Okay. This should be a game where the defense on both sides going to have to step it up. Because you can easily find yourself in a game like the Vikings in the first half against the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Like I said, on the happy hour edition, we're going to get into that. But it's time. Like there's no more. Listen, I understand. Like I said earlier, it's a bunch of football left to play. You're right. But we got to see something. We got to see something, some resemblance of, yo, this offense is about to take off. You got to see something. You got to see something. Hey, with the urgency. Listen, I think CJ talked about it in his post-game press conference on Sunday about doing things the right way, getting in the huddle and getting out of the huddle. He said, you watch these other teams, how they get in the huddle and get out of the huddle. He's right. Get in, get out. Let's go. They have the type of offensive and firepower that can go. Let's go. Once they get Joe Mixon back, let's go, let's go, let's go. Even without Joe Mixon, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go. Because you killing the momentum by running these running plays at the wrong time. I'm not saying that you should pass the ball on every down, no. But let CJ get into some type of rhythm. On that last drive, he got into rhythm. And we seen what he could do all last season when he gets into rhythm. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. You know what he did when he came into the Saints? He said, hey, this thing taking too long. It's taking too long, and this offense got too many. It spread it out too much. Hey, let me bring it in a little bit tighter. He brought that thing in a little bit tighter, and that offense has been clicking. Now, I know they lost to the Atlanta Falcons yesterday on the last-second field goal. What score? 26-24, if I'm not mistaken. I know they lost on the last-second field goal to the Atlanta Falcons, but that offense, if you look at it, it's quick. It's quick. When you look at the Buffalo Bills offense, it's quick. It's quick. And so, Bobby, if you can't get it together in these next 3 weeks, in this next quarter, in these next 4 games, the fans are only going to get worse. They're only going to call for your head more and more. They're only going to be like, hey, maybe you're not the guy. And maybe we need to get the guy in here. Because once again, football is king in the state of Texas, in the city of Houston. In the city of Houston, they live and breed and die with football, with the Houston Texans. Even during the down years, there were some fans that were on the verge of leaving. But you know what they said? Ain't going nowhere. This is my team. Because they know what it's like to not have a team. Remember now, when the Oilers moved to Tennessee, it was a while where it wasn't football in the city of Houston. When the McNairs brought Houston back to Houston in 2002, as fans has been fans of this team since 2002, and they was fans before you got here, Bobby. They're gonna be fans when you leave. Once again, with the inception of social media that gives everybody a voice, positive, negative, smart, dumb, doesn't matter. Everybody has access to a phone. Everybody has access to a computer. Everybody has access to a tablet. And they're going to say what they want to say. And yes, the Texans won 24-20. Great win. Not a good win. Ugly win. However you want to put it. They don't count ugly or pretty in wins and losses. They don't count that. You either you win or you lost. Texans won. But if you think that this fan base is sitting back and is happy with the way that the Texans won, not. Especially against a team. Listen, coming off an embarrassing performance, 34-7 against the Minnesota Vikings, one of the things that you should have been thinking, Bobby, in your mind was, I need to make a statement. I said this on numerous occasions. I said this before the game yesterday. I said the Texans have to come in and be the bullies. And they weren't the bullies on yesterday. They got bullied, actually. And in the second half, they definitely got bullied. That offense got bullied. And I get it. There's penalties. I got it. Some of those penalties are from what? Long developing plays. If you know you can't if you know you can't run the ball, if you're having problems running the ball, then guess what? Hey, man. Throw some of these quick hitters in the flats. Dalton Schultz will get you the catch. Daria will get you the catch. Stephon Diggs will get you the catch. Get some of these quick hitting plays. Put the defense on their heels. And once you get the defense on their heels, now they have to adjust. That last play, that touchdown play from CJ to Dari. I talked, and I'm gonna put the videos out. I talked to 2 players after the game, 3 players after the game. 1 I talked to off the record, 2 I talked to on the record. I think I put the video out of Titus Howard talking about that play, and then I got a video of Juice Scruggs talking about that play. And they said it was a fast break play. So we're not giving the defense time to get to the line and adjust. CJ got his reads. We get there. We just got to make sure we don't jump off sides. We got to make sure we don't have no penalties. And we get to the line and we go. And that's what has to happen, because the way that these defenses are settling in, these defenses are settling in. They're digging their heels in. And one way you could have, I put it like this. Go back and look at when y'all get a chance, go back and rewatch, if not rewatch, but watch. And you can watch, they got versions where you could speed through the game. Rewatch the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. And how the Vikings jumped out to a 28-0 lead, but only won the game 31-29. Could have lost that game too. But watch how Jordan Love is putting that Vikings defense on their heels, which is something that should have been done the week prior against when the Texans played the Vikings. But even if you don't put the Vikings on the heel, you damn sure got to put the Jags on the heel. That team was 0-3, winless. Their coach is on the hot seat. Hot. When the last time the Jags won a game? And you let them stick around? Listen, it's a divisional game. I got it. But by the same token, hell no. I gotta go. Hey, listen. Y'all make sure that you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, and on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Sarge Media, and read all my articles, www.bigsargemedia.com. I have got to go. I apologize. I will be back this evening, but the Rockets Media Day is about to start, and I got to get over there. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.